Welcome to Community Cocktails with Kimberly, hosted by Kimberly Woodard, a realtor for nearly 20 years with Ebby Halliday Realtors. Join her every first and third Wednesday of the month as she meets with the top community influencers to help you get to know the area you want to call home. Don't just love your home, love your community. And now, your host, Kimberly Woodard.
Welcome, viewers. I'm so excited to share with you this episode of Community Cocktails with Kimberly. Today's segment, you may be looking to sell your home and thinking, how do I get started? So we're going to talk all about staging. And I'm here with Dawn Brown, and she is with Snapdragon Staging and Design, a mouthful.
I know, right?
And I am so excited to have you on.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, people hear the word staging, and I think even when I bring it up to my clients, they cringe.
Right.
And they're like, oh, and so let's talk about, the staging and the purpose, because I think, people don't really understand what is staging.
Right. I think that a lot of myths are people think that, why should I spend the money on staging? And it's your home. You invest in your home. Mm-hmm. You want to get as much out of your home when you're selling it. And staging just makes it that one step better. Right. You declutter. One of the things you declutter, you paint, fresh paint, and also get a stager to stage, so people can go into a home and actually see what their things will look in the home, because a lot of people can't visualize.
Correct. I see it so many times. There's only a small percentage of people that can visualize what a home could be. Mm-hmm. And I always also tell my clients, staging's not decorating. It's not how you live. It's you want how other people could see your house and live in it. Right. And accentuate the architectural features. Right. And I think that's what you guys do great with, is bringing out those, illuminating the sunlight, because so many people love the sunlight, showcasing the crown moldings, and that's what the fresh paint can make it pop.
Yes, makes everything better. Yes.
And those different small things that are obviously, when the house is cleared out, that's all going to be there. Your things are leaving, but that is, really the purpose. And, we're not so much telling them this is how your stuff should live. No. This is how you should always have it decorated. It's just more of a way to sell the house.
Right. It also shows, like, I've had a lot of homes that I've done that have like unique floor plans.
Yes.
And it's hard. You're like, there's a space. What do I do with it?
Right.
So when you stage it, you can make it any space you want.
Yes.
And people go, oh, wow, that'll be a cool there. I can put my desk there, or I can have a game room there.
Right.
Things like that. So staging is very important aspect in that regard.
And I agree. I'll use an example too. I had a client when I went, this was years back, went to her house, and it was an awkward living room space.
Right.
It wasn't just that flat. So it was, how could you set up the furniture to accentuate all these? It was open. It had beautiful windows that looked out to this gorgeous pool.
Right.
So how, and she was just like, I have designed it every which way, done everything that I could think of to make this, for the furniture to fit and make this room feel usable, but it's so hard. So so we're analyzing, we walked the house, we analyzed. I said, let me just twitch. So I just started moving. I'm in my heels, of course.
Right.
That's just me. Hands on. And we moved we move in a direction, set the chairs, and I go, I think I like it this way. Mm-hmm. And she goes, this is one way I've never thought about doing. And she goes, It worked perfect. And that house moved really quickly.
Right.
We had no problem. But if we would have kept it the way it was presented,
originally, people
would have thought the same thing.
Yeah, I agree on that. That's moving. I do that too. I go into a home and I like moving stuff around. I even do it with my stuff. So I have my staging and I put it all out and I'm like, okay, wait, no, I like it this way.
Right.
Or I like the pillow here or things like that. So moving it around and making it look a certain way definitely helps.
Yes. Yes.
You want the house to feel warm and cozy when your client comes in.
Yes.
And that's all it is, really.
Yeah. Well, and a buyer also wants to feel like no one lives in the home.
Right.
When right now everyone watches, and probably even more during this pandemic time period, HGTV.
Yes.
You're watching all these
Right.
shows, and everything looks so perfect.
Right.
Whether it's a pre-owned home or brand new, but people want to feel like no one lives in the house.
Right.
It is untouchable, and that's kind of how staging does it. You kind of depersonalize it a little bit. I'm not saying that everything of every picture has to be down, but because that gives a little warmth, but it does depersonalize it. It's not the focus. You don't feel like you're invading someone's property.
Right. I agree on that. And plus, finding a good realtor like yourself, a good realtor will definitely tell you what you need to do to sell your home.
Yeah.
And listen to them.
Yes.
Staging is definitely part of that too.
Yeah.
You've got to declutter. That's the main thing that I see that people don't do.
Yes.
And plus, when you take the pictures, people nowadays, since they're at home, they want to look at pictures.
Yeah.
On the computer. They don't want to just, oh, here's a house for sale.
Right.
Let's go see it. Well, you want to see what it looks like before you go actually see the home.
Yes.
So if it's staged nice and all presented nice, that will, be a better, fit, I think, for the person. So.
Oh, definitely. And I think the point about decluttering, that's such a high point, to really focus on, because I always tell my clients, let's not pack this stuff and move that stuff that you want to get rid of to the next house. It's going to cost you.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and just move it out.
Right. Yeah. Make it easier. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea too,
Right.
to make it easier,
Yes.
get rid of everything. So it'll be easier for them to move.
Yes. It makes life so much easier. You can start pre-packing things too.
Yes,
It's always a good idea. Start going ahead and packing. So, and there's going to be things that you don't want to get rid of.
Right.
And so those things, go ahead and pack it. Get your boxes, get your bubble wrap, and start packing those things, boxing them up, and putting them either, I have clients that will put things in their garages, or they'll get an extra storage unit,
Right.
and put those in there and just get it out of the way. So then when Dawn comes, and she will walk through the house and give, her assessment of what needs to be done. And, as an outsider, being able to look at the house and be able to focus on those things that we're pointing out, those windows that we want to really focus on, because it really captures our backyard, or that crown molding, or the architectural beams that are in that room.
Right.
To bring those eyes in those directions.
Right. And you want your house to sell quick.
Right. Well, definitely. Well, that's the other thing, is that it does help with really selling the home, because people will see a different face on the house when someone sees something. And I use this as an example. It's fresh, it's clean, it's move-in ready. They can start visualizing having the family gatherings, when we can have more than our immediate family in our houses.
Right. Yes.
Or
yes.
bringing our family.
Yeah.
But they can envision all those times spent, whether it's cooking a dinner for the family around the kitchen, or spending a holiday in the dining room or in the family room. They start thinking of those things, and then they start, also with the staging, I think they start placing their own furniture,
Right.
too, because they could see a room. And I think a lot of times people will walk into a room of a vacant house and be like, that room's
They
too
don't
small.
know. Well, yeah, they don't know how their things are going to fit.
Right. Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people say that too. They walk into a vacant house opposed to one that's been staged.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can actually visualize my things and the ones that's been staged
Right.
opposed to the one that's just vacant, because there's just so much space in a blank room.
Yeah.
You know, they just can't visualize.
They can't visualize a lot of times
Right.
seeing the, you know, is my bed going to fit?
Right.
You see a bed that's, you know, similar size, you know, you see a queen or you see a king in a bedroom, you can relate, oh, I have a king. Oh, that'll fit perfect.
Right.
And I have a dresser. Oh, it's about that size. Perfect. You know, people start to be able to place their own things in that space. And then there we go. We've got a buyer.
Right. And I actually have had people say, I want to buy your furniture.
Oh, yes.
So, you know,
Yes.
so that's a plus for me too.
Yeah. Well, and that's, you know, another thing is sometimes, you know, if your furniture, that makes a difference. And I'm glad you pointed that out, is that sometimes, you know, having, you know, not so much freshening up your furniture, like, and maybe you have some things that are in, and you know that your next home, you're getting rid of those things.
Right.
So sometimes, you know, using yourself, you can bring in some furniture to these properties, give it a fresh look, give it the, you know, newest designer look, which also makes the house, actually increases the house looking more updated.
Yes, I agree on that too. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you had a couch that was all tired and, you know, 10 year plus, you know, years ago.
Right.
And it looks a little worn out versus something that's fresh and has some of the designer colors and palettes, but even accessories, you know,
yes.
can make a big difference.
Big difference.
Using the lighter colors and just
Brighter, lighter colors, yes. And even couches too. I mean, you've got a plain, let's say you have a plain gray couch.
Yeah.
You can put any color on a plain gray couch.
Yeah.
You can put blues, you can put, you know, greens, you can put yellows, anything. And I even do that in my own house. The seasons, I change all my pillows out during the season, you know, and you switch them out. It's fun for me to do, and it's fun, you know, for people to come into a home and see it's bright and cheery.
Yes, and that's I like that, the bright and cheery, because I feel like people do need that brightness. They don't want to go into a home that they feel that it's dreary, because then they start to feel like this is depressing. And guess what? They've opened the door and they're walking out the door.
Yes.
And I've had, and as an agent and showing property, I've had that experience where I've opened the door, my client started to walk in, the house looked very tired.
Yes.
And they were like, I just don't get a good feeling.
Right.
And they haven't even really given the house the chance, just because of that, you know, looking at the house saying, gosh, it's tired.
Right. Yes.
And so again, you know, let's stress on that it is so important to really freshen your house's look. So if you're, you know, this is the time we're in the spring season and everyone is starting to maybe think about, you know, taking that move, you know, getting in touch with the realtor, which I hope is myself. But,
of course, yes.
But, and, you know, getting that plan and starting to get, you know, going, okay, what do we need to do? And it doesn't cost, and let's highlight the cost. It really doesn't cost as much as what people think, because people are looking at, okay, I want to get the most out of your bottom line. Well, guess what? You may pay a little bit, but the offset of what you're going to get at the end of the day, as maybe multiple offers,
you'll get more for your house. I'll guarantee that, because it's been proven that a house that's been staged definitely sells quicker, and definitely you will not get as many people, you know, trying to negotiate price. And I found that out. That's just a no-brainer.
Because people want, again, you know, people want that house that looks like it's fresh. And then I guess another point to capture is that when something has a great presentation, they also feel that if the surface looks great, everything else is going to look great. So, you know, that those people have taken care of their house, they have pride in their home, so they all, you know, are taking care of the other things in their home, their mechanical things and things like that. So then they're willing to go forward with that property versus maybe something else.
Yes, I agree.
So
I agree on that.
I think those are, you know, great points to, you know, really stress on, and, you know, really, you know, point out that it makes a difference.
It does. It does make a difference. And like what you said, it's really, the cost is really not that much.
No.
You know, people think that it's going to be outrageous, but it's really not.
Well, and let's talk about rooms too. Sometimes people are on budgets, and we all know. I mean, we're not, endless, cash flow. So let's point out some important rooms in the house that maybe need to be most focused on if we're going to pick the highlight rooms.
Right. I would pick your living room, your kitchen, definitely, because that's really one of the first places that people walk into. Right. Master bedroom and all the bathrooms. Okay. So those are the ones that I would focus on the most.
Right.
Those are the ones people want to have look great, feel great, have them be able to come in and say, oh my gosh, I love this kitchen. I can see myself cooking in this kitchen. It's beautiful. So those are the points that those are the places that I would start first.
Yes.
And then you can go and start working on game rooms and things like that.
Secondary.
Yeah.
Well, and you bring up the bathroom. In a bathroom, it can be as little as just some fresh towels,
right.
A nice orchid, and just I will say scrub that fresh look.
Right.
So if I'll use example. If you have white, get that bleach out, make that white look like pearly white.
Exactly.
If you need a little recaulking around edges of the tile and everything, do that. But that makes such a difference because it just brightens it up.
Right. Yeah.
And it just makes a fresh look. And you can look at one with nothing in, and then one, it just also adds a little warmth to it. Yes, but I always like that the fresh towels. I always tell my clients,
fresh towels.
Because I'll bring over towels, and I'm like, okay, don't use these, don't touch them. These are your showing towels.
Right.
So when we have a showing, we put these fresh towels out,
right?
And because no one wants to see your towels that you bathed with, put those in, hide those in the closet.
Okay, so what's really funny is I'm so crazy. I go on like realtor.com and I look at pictures and everything, and I'm like, how in the world is there a realtor allowing them to take a picture of their toothbrush and their toothpaste? Yes. And I'm like, that's so crazy.
I know. I take all that when we're going, and everything personal. Like we hide. I always tell my clients, get a little tote.
Oh yeah, get rid of everything.
And just in the morning, you get your tote out, and you have your toothbrush. You have all that stuff, and then after you get ready, you put it all in the tote, you put it underneath your sink.
Right.
The same, with because people don't want to see those things. Plus, I am such a germophobia that I don't want it to feel like someone has. If my toothbrush is out, what if someone touched it?
Yeah.
Oh, or touched my towels. So that's why I say have your showing towels that are, these are the towels that are for your showings, because you don't know, people like to touch things, even though in this COVID world that we tell people to refrain from touching, they still want to touch them.
Yes,
and
I
so
agree.
We just don't want that. And well, let's also talk about brightening up. And now that we're approaching our springtime, and outdoor living is such a big thing now because that's our second living. And let's talk about some tips of staging the outdoors.
I actually love staging outdoors because nowadays people love to go out and sit and cook, have friends over, when we can.
Right.
So staging outdoors would be bright, beautiful colors.
Okay.
That makes the whole outside feel fun, comfortable, and so I like to use whites. I like to use bright yellows, bright blues, and also rugs. Rugs make everything better.
Oh, I love rugs. Those are always so fun, and it brightens it up. I'll use an example of a little property, that backyard, just, it wasn't a covered patio, just an open patio.
Right.
But we had their table set. I threw over some outdoor pillows that I had, and just those outdoor pillows in this time of year brightened that space up. And I had everyone that looked at that house said, oh my gosh, this is so cute out here. And they could start visualizing, Oh, I could bring my table here. Oh, I could add an umbrella
Right,
here.
yeah, absolutely.
And they were looking at the privacy of it and everything like that versus, oh, walking out to a bare space.
Right.
So
right.
yeah, I love the outdoors. I love the warmer weather, so we can, have the outdoors. We did a lot of outdoor entertaining in my own personal home. And so I always tell my clients, we've got to work on that outdoor, whatever it is, we're going to make an outdoor living.
Yes.
So, well, whatever palette we have, we need to have that.
Right.
Well, we've got lots of tips here for you guys to take home. And if you are looking to, sell your home, you can take these and start rolling, and hopefully you'll give me a call and I'll bring Dawn with me.
Yeah.
And we can come take a look at your home. But thank you so much, and I'll have Dawn's information here. So if you want to reach out to her for her services directly, you can reach out to her for staging, as well as she also has interior design.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers to New Year.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to contact Kimberly with your real estate needs, you can reach her at kimberlywoodard.ebby.com. We hope you enjoyed our guest this week, and remember, don't just love your home, love your community.